the meeting to order. I would like to hit a couple pieces for our virtual space etiquette protocol, just so we're all on the same page with that. It has been a long time, and so excuse any kind of up and down with the virtual, because it is getting used to it again, I guess. So, but that's the good news, is we have this available. I'd like to ask all the board members to have your video on if you are able to. Dr. B, Jerry, and the cabinet, if you have the capability and are open to that as well. Presenters, please turn your camera on when you are speaking. And guests, if you'd please mute your lines, and everybody else mute when you aren't speaking. I think that will help us be able to have a little bit of an ease going through the meeting. So I think that'll cover that. So again, as called the meeting to order, we will skip the Pledge of Allegiance, since we are being fully virtual, acknowledging our great country. And item number 3, I would ask for a motion to approve the agenda as presented.
I move.
So move, or I second.
Thanks, Heidi. Thanks, Jane. All those in favor say aye.
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 Great, thank you. We have a consent agenda that's rather long. I'm going to go through each of the items listed. And then if you have anything you would like to pull out, or if there is anything for discussion, please let me know, and then we'll look for a motion for that. So consent agenda, item A, minutes of December 11th, 2024 district board meeting. B, minutes of the January 14th, 2025 district board retreat. C, revised policy 22, policy and procedure adoption. Revised procedure 22-02, procedure adoption, amendment, and repeal. E, repeal policy 1-300, college organizations. F, repeal policy 5-1104, military tuition assistance. And G, as we discussed this morning, our new policy 402, emerging technologies. If there's no discussion, I would entertain a motion to adjourn. I'm going to cut the meeting right before we even get there for a vote. Go ahead, Heidi.
I have a question. I don't know if it's a big deal. I know I was not at the full meeting in December, but I did vote on one of the important items. I can't remember at the top of my head. It was Chuck's issue. Yeah, and it says that I was not there at the beginning of the minutes. So I don't know if you want to say that I was there for a small time, or
that. Trustee Wendell, so it's noted that you were not there at the beginning of the meeting, but you were there for those pieces. So that should be noted later on in the minutes when you did arrive, at least from what I could tell. But if not, that can be edited after. It can be approved as amended. There.
Oh, okay. It's not a big deal, but I didn't know if that needed to be in there. So yep. I'm okay. Sounds good.
I can definitely get that updated.
Okay, that's fine.
Great. Any other discussion? If not, I'd ask for a motion to approve.
I move to approve the consent agenda.
Is there a second?
I second that.
Thank you. As a process for the virtual meeting, I will also ask Jerry to conduct a roll call after each vote, for a vote after each motion. So Jerry, would you ask for a roll call vote?
Yes. Trustee Hafley?
Aye.
Trustee O'Hara?
Aye.
Trustee Trustwell?
Aye.
Trustee Wendell?
Aye.
And Chair Schock?
Aye. Great, thank you. I do not believe we have a public comment. Because it is remote, public comments have to be provided by emailing the board. And I did not see anything on that.
That's correct, Chair Schock.
Great, thank you. Next up, we have our presentations from our guests and representatives to the Board of Excellence at Ames. Kelly Jackson, our Foundation Executive Director.
Good afternoon, Board, Trustees, and Dr. Bornstein and Cabinet. It feels like we've gone back in time doing this via Zoom, but appreciate the opportunity to be able to do it from home on a snowy day. Today's presentation, I heard this speaker at a Dream Team fundraising breakfast. And when she got up and spoke, and then Terry Pappas got up and spoke, I went, holy cow, we've got to have both of them here, because their stories brought tears to my eyes, and how much Ames was a presence in their life to help direct them to where they are today. So I would like to introduce today, the agenda does say Ariana. It is Adriana, and she has a new last name of Diaz. She is a 2022 Ames Liberal Arts grad who has a story that will knock your socks off. So I'd like to welcome Adriana to speak.
Hello, my name is Adriana. I just want to start off by thanking each and every one of you for the privilege to come in front of you today and tell you a bit about myself. I am 26-year-old, mother to 4 beautiful children, ages 4 months, 2 years, and 9 years, and 12 years. I was 14-year-old when I had my first daughter. I obviously was terrified, didn't know how I was going to finish school, how I was going to take care of my child, more or less, how I was going to support her. Which these were all very reasonable questions, I felt like. I turned to a single parent overnight, my freshman year of high school. I knew this wasn't the ideal situation, and I definitely wanted to finish high school and go on to college. I knew that for a fact. I wanted to create a better life for my daughter and make sure she had everything she needed in life. At the time, I was attending Greeley West. Didn't know how things were going to work out for me. So I was given some options by the high school from a lady named Daly, who helped me transfer over to Jefferson High School at the time. They kind of went over with me and told me how the school worked. The school had a daycare on campus. I was able to bring her to school while I went to school and finished my high school diploma. All while doing that, I also finished my classes early, so I was able to do what's concurrent enrollment through Ames Community College, an awesome program in which I obtained my CNA license in May of 2016. I wanted to start working as a CNA right away, obviously. I graduated my senior year in 2016 as well. During that time, the state wouldn't allow us to work until we were 18 years of age because they operated mechanical lifts, so I had to wait a couple months before I could apply, which I started working at a place called Fairacres Manor. Worked there for about 2 years before I was able to transfer over to the hospital to work there as a CNA. In 2021, I decided to go back to school, and I wanted to further my career and become a nurse, but life had other plans, and I ended up becoming pregnant and having my son not too shortly after. During that year of 2021, I attended Ames, and I got my associates in liberal arts. This would help kind of bridge the next step in order to getting my nursing degree. I finished all my prerequisites, and I wanted to attend UNC and do the Ames to UNC. When I graduated from Ames in May of 2022, I had just been just shy of 2 months before I delivered. I delivered my son 2 months later. After getting my degree, I walked across the stage and received my diploma like everybody else, which was exciting. Being super pregnant was not the best, but it works, and I was fortunate. Ames definitely has helped me overall, though. Before all of this, I had to hurdle many different hurdles. They helped me find rides to and from school when I did concurrent enrollment by doing the bus system and figuring out when and where to get off. I met some amazing people like Terry Pappas and Elizabeth Barbara, who opened my eyes to a bigger community that was there to help me, support me educationally and outside of the educational field. I did programs like the Brain Box when it first started. I helped start all that. I also was a part of the Dream Team, which helped build up my career from starting at Jefferson all the way up until even in college level. They still were there to help guide me. Even when I graduated, they were still there to kind of lend that hand when I needed it. Even for my kids to this day, they're still helping. Ames definitely has been my home base. I've always been going to Ames. I still will continue to go to Ames until I finish graduating my nursing program. My goal is to apply to the nursing program this year If not, hopefully next year. I just recently had another son who is now 4 months old. And I got married in April of last year. So there's a lot going on in my life, but there's a lot of things that I am still looking forward to. And I cannot wait to experience all that, especially through Ames Community College, because of how well the community is and how much they're there to help us if we need it.
I'm not sure if Kelly's coming back on, but did you want to say anything, Kelly?
I just want to thank her for sharing her story. Sometimes sharing where we start, where we go, and who we've become isn't always easy. So thank you, Adriana, for sharing how the Dream Team and Ames to UNC and the Ames family overall have helped you succeed. So we appreciate you taking the time out of your busy day and busy schedule. Have fun with all those littles at your house.
Thank you so much. Thank you guys for allowing me to be here today with you guys and discuss my life.
Yeah, you are one busy person. Very impressive and inspirational. Coming in the healthcare arena, we're lucky to have a person like you pursuing. That's the passion we want. So congratulations and thank you. Did anybody else want to make a note?
Yeah, I do. I'm excited that there are programs like Dream Team and people like Terry Pappas.
Yeah.
And I think what's important is that you've had an opportunity of school of choice, and each one has fit you incredibly well, starting with Jefferson, and then as you matriculated to Ames. And you should be really proud of yourself that you've taken advantage of all the assistance that you've received along the way, and it will pay huge dividends as you move forward and get your nursing degree. So like Chair Schock said, be very proud of yourself and know that the trustees at Ames are as well.
Great. Thank you, Adriana. Again, I love your story and congratulations and keep going.
Thank you so much. You guys have a great day.
Thank you. Wow. Always, those stories just amaze me every time. Okay, on to the next item of 6B. Representatives to the board. Our faculty association position is vacant right now. They're in the process of filling this position, so we won't have a report there. Our ASA, or Ames Staff Association, David Mont.
Good morning or afternoon, everyone. Can you hear me all right?
We can. Thank you.
Great. Thank you, Chair Schock, members of the board. Dr. B, welcome back. Cabinet, colleagues, friends, coming to you live from the Mont bunker, the apocalypse bunker. We're surviving. I'm just kidding. It's my basement. It's nice and warm down here. I've got a brief update from ASA. We'll highlight a couple previous events, look at some upcoming events, and then I'll highlight a Ripple, and that'll be it for me for today. So since last time we met, we did have our all-staff meeting in December and our holiday party, which was a great success. I don't know if y'all remember, that was an initiative. One of our initiatives, our goals for this year was to do more social events. The leadership team established that back in August. If you remember, we did the employee survey in which we received that feedback again. And plus it's also in our charter. So compounding reasons for us to do events like the holiday party. And it showed that it was desired by staff. There was a large turnout. I don't remember off the top of my head the exact head count, but lots of folks showed up. We played yard games and gave away door prizes. But the overwhelming feedback I got was that the staff were just so appreciative of an opportunity on their calendars to just take, whatever it was, 30, 40 minutes, whatever they could allot, to just come and sit and just chat with staff, just be friends with one another. And so that was a great event. And so we're going to have more of those. We did have our January all-staff meeting. I wanted to publicly thank Laura for stepping in for me. I was supposed to host that meeting, but of all things, I end up getting snowed in Fort Worth, Texas, attending a conference. and got snowed in Texas of all things. So Laura had to step in the very last second and scramble, and she did a great job with that meeting as well. So those are recent events and meetings. Upcoming, we have our February all staff meeting is this Friday. We're hosting that at the Loveland campus. In that effort that I've talked to you almost every month about trying to actually get on site in person to all of the outlying campuses. So Loveland's up this Friday. This week we were supposed to be doing it like right now. Our Share the Love social events at each campus. Windsor was supposed to be today. That will be rescheduled for next week. More details to come on that. Tomorrow is the Share the Love event at Fort Lupton, and then we'll conduct one on Friday at Loveland campus, and then one also on Friday at the Greeley campus. So I sent out an email this morning. That's all in the daily. So staff members, if you have any questions, definitely the information is there for you to take advantage of those. I do have an update, upcoming volunteer events. So last semester, remember we did a World Food Bank event that was a great success. We're doing one of those again this semester. Right now, I think the date for Food Bank will be March 21st, Friday. And then we also have scheduled 2 different habitat events that will both occur on Friday, April 18th. And so we definitely have links for signups and all of that, and we'll be sending those out at the appropriate times soon. So be on the lookout for that. Okay, and then that's it for event updates. My last item was to highlight a Ripple, and this month, let me pull it up. I'm going to highlight Megan Blazer, and this is a nomination that came from David Sorty in Industrial Tech, and I'm just going to read about Megan. Megan's the program coordinator for Industrial Technology. Megan continues to provide invaluable support, advising students on choices that they have for their academic plan in their career. During a recent meeting with a potential student, the student was incredibly thankful and said that Ames was very lucky to have Megan. Over the last year, as Megan has continued to meet routinely with students in our program, she has become known as the go-to person to help our students maximize their time at Ames. Again, that's from Chair of Industrial Technology, Dave Sorty. So good job, Megan. Keep up the good work. And to the rest of the staff, thank you as well for your hard work, and keep it up. Stay warm, everybody. And with that, I stand for questions.
Great. Any questions from the board? I do not see any. Thank you, David. Appreciate your report.
Thanks, y'all. Appreciate it.
Okay, next up, we have the SGA with Jeff Thatch.
All right. Greetings, Chair Stock, members of the board, Dr. Bornstein, and cabinet members. You may have seen me around campus or at a few of these meetings, but I'd like to take a moment to formally introduce myself. I'm Jeff Thatch, and I'm honored to serve as the new SGA president. I'm excited for the opportunity to work with all of you, and I'm looking forward to spending a few hours together once a month throughout the semester. While I'd love to exclusively shine a spotlight on the incredible work my teammates are doing, I've been encouraged to share a bit about myself as well. I've been at Ames for quite a while now, and I've worked in the bistro, Artie's Pantry, and I was a member of CAP. Along the way, I've earned a few degrees, and throughout my journey, I've received an exceptional education. But something shifted my perspective and goals. During my time here, I've developed a deep passion for higher education. The sense of community, the genuine care, and the supportive environment have truly made Ames feel like a second home. My dream is to one day work here, helping create an experience for students as enriching and positive as the ones that I've had. When I'm not immersed in all things Ames, you can find me traveling, often with my 3 cats in tow. I'm a huge fan of live music, whether it's a big stadium concert or an intimate show at a coffee shop. There's something about the energy of live music that I just can't resist. So now to talk about my amazing team. This semester, we've seen 2 other transitions in SGA. I'd like to take a moment to recognize our newest members, who, if we were in person, I'd be asking them to stand right now, but I don't believe they're in the Zoom. Camila Elias is our new SGA Executive Vice President. and Mindy Stevens is our newly appointed student parent advocate. At the same time, I'd like to thank our outgoing members, Brielle Rummings, Pipe Lem, and David Gallegos for their invaluable contributions and service. They will be greatly missed, and we're grateful for all they've done for SGA. Our campus activity programmers have been hard at work, ensuring an exciting lineup of events for the spring semester. The first event, Santa Silhouettes, which raises awareness about domestic violence, began last week and will continue throughout the month. On Monday, CAP hosted a cookie decorating event called Love is Sweet. We also have other great events coming up in February on the Greeley campus, including custom protein shakes and a THC education event. Last week in Loveland, Hopscotch took place all week to promote mental health awareness. And in Windsor, CAP will be hosting a welcome back dance party at the end of the month. I would like to extend a warm invitation to all board members to attend these meetings and experience firsthand the incredible work our programmers are doing to support our students. Our Fort Lupton CAP position may be vacant, but rest assured Fort Lupton is still very much on our radar. In the meantime, our dedicated CAP members are hard at work assembling sniffle kits to help support students on the Fort Lupton campus. In addition, Artie's Recovery Connection has begun holding weekly gatherings every Wednesday and Thursday. After the success of their pool tournaments and other events last semester, I'm excited to see what they have in store this spring. As we find ourselves in the middle of the fourth week of the semester, I know everyone is finding their rhythm and balancing their school, work, and personal life. We in student life are getting settled in our new space in the student commons and are optimistic for a great semester ahead. I'd like to extend one more invitation to everyone to our open house next Wednesday on the 19th from 11:30 to 1:30 in Student Commons 120. Stop by and grab a walking taco and meet the incredible team. Thank you, and I'm happy to take any questions or comments.
Thank you, Jeff. Are there any questions, comments? I don't see any, so it'll be great to have you. We look forward to your work and your reports, so welcome. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, we will move into our action items. On 7A, first up is our FY 25-26 proposed tuition rates. Chuck Jensen, our Vice President of Administrative Services, will present. Chuck?
Thank you, Chair Schock, members of the board, Dr. Bornstein, fellow cabinet members and guests. You have before you action item 7A, which is our 25-26 proposed tuition rates. The rates being proposed are based on the tuition strategy that was approved in March of 2021. And again, that strategy sought to reduce our risk within our revenue streams, evenly distribute our growth, our tuition growth, and provide predictability for students. At the November 12th, 2024 meeting, the Student Government Association voted to support this proposed tuition increase. The fiscal impact on this is we will generate approximately $745,000 in additional tuition for our fiscal year 25-26 budget. And the administrative recommendation to the board is to approve this tuition rate for 25-26. Chair Schock, I stand for questions.
Any questions from the board?
Yeah, I have a question, and it has to do with our out-of-state rates with the increase. Where does that put us for out-of-state students across Colorado and the other community colleges? We still the least expensive?
Trustee O'Hare, yes. I'm just looking through my file here real quick, but that is one we monitor. We also monitor that also, and we continue to be a cost leader in out-of-state tuition in Colorado. I not grabbing my file as quickly as I'd like to, but so I can't have numbers for you, but I can send that out to the board, that breakdown of where we're at in comparison to our peers.
Okay.
But we are still the most competitive in the state.
Okay. Thank you, Chuck.
Mhm.
Any other questions or comments? I think your presentation at last month was, work session was great. If no other comments or questions, if I could ask for a motion to approve as presented.
I so move.
Thanks, Jean. A second.
I second that motion, please.
Great. Thanks, Heidi. I will ask Jerry to do a roll call vote.
Trustee Havely,
Aye.
Trustee O'Hara,
Aye.
Trustee Trustwell,
Aye.
Trustee Wendell,
Aye.
and Chair Shock.
Aye. Okay, sorry for the background music. I will move right into 7B, which is FY 25-26 proposed fee. Again, Chuck Jensen, our Vice President of Administrative Services.
Thank you, Chair Shock, members of the board, Dr. Bornstein, Cabinet. You have before you action item 7B, proposed 25-26 student fee increase. Again, this is the fee that supports our student government, student life, and all student-sponsored co-curricular activities across all of our campuses. 68% of this fee supports student life and SGA salaries. This increase of $2 will generate approximately $200,000 in additional revenue for SGA and student life. At their November 12th, 24 meeting, again, SGA supported and approved this fee increase. And the administrative recommendation is for approval of the proposed student fee increase for fiscal year 25-26. I'll stand for any questions.
Any questions or comments from the board? Trustee Havely.
Vice President Jensen, you do an incredible job of explaining and leading us in a proper financial stance, and you should be lauded for all the things that you do for Ames, and you do just a wonderful job. So thank you.
Thank you. I appreciate the comment.
Any other comments or questions? Heidi.
I'm still trying to figure this out. Mr. Jensen, Chuck, like John said, you do a great job. And I really think the small increase has really helped the student and the Student Government Association. It feels like there's a lot more activities on campus and a lot more unity. And Jeff Thatch, the new president, I mean, there's a lot of attention to detail and inclusivity of all the students. So I think the money is being well spent. So thanks.
Thank you.
Anybody else? I would just echo the comments, Chuck. And I also appreciate that you partner with the SGA and the actual Ames community as we move through decisions that are being made. So thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. No further questions or comments. I'll ask Jerry to conduct a roll call.
Sorry, first we'll need a motion and a second.
Oh, thank you. We didn't do that, did we? Is there a motion?
I move.
I second.
Thanks, Jean. All those in favor say aye.
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 And we're going to do a roll call. See, I have to backtrack. Jerry's going to keep me honest on this whole thing.
You're doing a great job. It's no problem. Trustee Havely,
Aye.
Trustee O'Hara,
Aye.
Trustee Trustwell,
Aye.
Trustee Wendell,
Aye.
and Chair Shock.
Aye. Great. Thank you.
Thank you.
It takes a village, you know. Okay, 7C, location of our public board meeting notices. Jerry, our board liaison.
Thank you, Chair Shock. You have before you item 7C, which is required by statute every year for the board to designate a specific site in order to publish all public notices of meetings and gatherings of the board. So staff's recommendation is to designate the Board of Trustees website as the primary location and as the President's office in Ed Beatty Hall as the backup emergency option for posting. And I stand for any questions.
Any questions or comments? I don't see any, so could I have a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Thank you, Janine. Is
I
there a second?
second that.
Thank you. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Oh, nope, roll call.
Yep.
This is going to get me.
It's okay. This
Jerry.
is the last one. Trustee Hafley,
Aye.
Trustee O'Hara,
Aye.
Trustee Trustwell,
Aye.
Trustee Wendell,
Aye.
and Chair Schock.
Aye. Okay. I think that's all the action items. Thank you. We'll move into section 8, our information items, and Jerry will provide us an update on upcoming events.
Thank you, Chair Schock. I will go ahead and share my screen since you don't have your extra screens in front of you. This is first going to be the board events calendar. I'll go ahead and share that briefly while we discuss. So you'll see here upcoming the Chamber annual event dinner. We also have Conversation Day on the 21st, next Friday. This, of course, is slightly out of date because this was published a week ago. So all trustees will be in attendance. I know folks will be kind of coming and going at different times depending on what's going on, but we will have everyone there for at least a period of time, which is excellent. And then you'll see going on into the rest of the semester, I've detailed out different board meetings, and we do have commencement on there as a save the date. Don't forget May 16th, and the trustees, Board of Trustees summer retreat, June 3rd and 4th. And then moving into the annual calendar of work session and action items, we have for March, compensation and benefits from D. Schultz during the work session, and a foundation update from our trustee liaison, Trustee Wendell, will be coming up in March. And the appointment of the election official for this year's election will be there for action as well.
Trustee
Mr.
Hafley.
I'll be attending the chamber event on my own, but I'll be there with my name tag.
Perfect. Thank you.
I will as well, Jerry. Okay. No further comments or questions on? Okay, we'll move on to 8B, our Distinguished Fellow nominations deadline and selection of the Board of Trustee representative to the Distinguished Fellow Committee. Jerry?
Thank you, Chair Schock. Yes, it is that time of year again to for the board to select their representative to the Distinguished Fellow Committee. Just as a kind of a brief rundown of what this process will look like, just as a reminder for folks. The board today will select a volunteer to serve as chair of that committee to select this year's Distinguished Fellow. Once the application deadline occurs on the 28th of this month, all applications or nominations received will be forwarded out to the entire committee. There'll be time for each committee member to evaluate those and rank those on their ranking sheets that they'll receive from me. And then we will all meet together that first week in March as a committee for that committee to decide who they're going to choose for this year's award recipient. So I would just ask for the board to select a volunteer today for us to round out that committee, and then we can move on with our work.
Does anybody would like anybody on the board to volunteer?
Chair
Aye.
Schock,
Oh, go ahead, Gene.
I would be willing to serve as the board representative, but Janine, if you would like to do that, I'm fine with you. You're doing it.
No, Gene, actually, I did this last year and I will tell you that it is a great joy. And Jerry, of course, as always, makes it very, very easy for the chair. He's just great at preparing, and it's just a delight to be able to meet the people that serve on the committee and work with them. And so I was going to say, that I would hope that somebody else would take advantage of this opportunity. I'll back you up, Gene, but I think you'd be wonderful at this, Gene. I think you'd really enjoy it.
Yeah, I have done it, but quite a few years ago. It, and I enjoyed it then. And with Jerry organizing things, I know it'll go smoothly.
Thank you, Trustee O'Hara. I'll get your name down and then I'll reach out later today for your availability that week.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you, Jane. Heidi?
I had a quick question. Where do we submit nominations?
Thank you, Trustee Wendell. Yes, nominations can be submitted on the Board of Trustees website. So if you go to the Board of Trustees website, scroll down to the bottom of the page, there's information about the award itself, as well as a link to where you can submit those online.
Great, thank you. Okay. That's always one of my favorite pieces as well. 8C, progress on our 2024-25 board priority. And again, as we look at how our year is gone and moving forward, we put together our board focus, our 3-year board focus. Again, that can be adjusted, but I know this is in your packet. Thanks, Jerry. And as well as on the screen. And so I really would like this to be a dialogue around how are we doing? And, how is the board feeling around our focus items that we've done? And I'll kind of walk through section A, and then I'll get into B, and we'll kind of run through our focus areas. But the primary title on A is create a board culture of mutual respect, curiosity, and inclusion. And I have to tell you, this is truly a board that I have enjoyed working with. I will tell you as a chair, when we think about how easy Jerry makes things for us or teeing us up for it, this board tees up a lot of things and you do your homework. I think everybody is in the know of doing the work for what's happening and what our responsibilities are. And so when I look at that culture of mutual respect, curiosity, and inclusion, I think we push each other as well as work together very well. And so I would love any feedback on any one of the sections in there. And I have a few more comments, but I'll open it up to the board. Trustee Hafley.
I would concur with everything you'd say. One of the things that I would like to see more of, though, is have a better understanding of higher education trends and landscape. That's just not something that's in my reading daily. So anything that could be provided would be greatly appreciated.
I think that's a great comment, John. I have a note on mine as well, is I continue to learn on that. And I don't know, I have trust that the cabinet and president really does put those forward, but I think those are ongoing changes. And I think today with the direction and review of higher ed, I think that's going to be even more important. Other comments? Trustee Wendell. Sorry, Janine.
No, that's okay.
Janine, go ahead first.
No, I was just really going to say that I would agree with John. And I think in light of our book that we read, that was something that I think we had a great discussion on imaginable and the future. And we talked a little bit about the future of higher ed, but I think going a little deeper on that would be really important. Mainly because I think what it does is I have no doubt that Dr. Bornstein and the cabinet is in tune to all of that. But it makes it, if we are aware of those things, it makes it much easier when they do presentations. So I think I would echo that.
Trustee Wendell?
That was the same thing I was going to talk about. The first thing that stems out to me is that I'm not familiar enough with higher education, even though I've been here for 5 years. And I'm wondering, Dr. Bornstein, I can't remember her first name, beautiful woman. I think her last name is Picon. And she's with, I think, the Community College of Colorado Higher Education. I'm wondering if there must be a newsletter that maybe we can, maybe I could get, and then give to each of the board members, and then that could be something that we maybe discuss real quickly, or at least we all read that newsletter. That's not too much, but then we focus on a specific thing for that month. I could look into it and see what I could find. Just a thought.
You're probably speaking of Dr. Angie Piccioni.
Piccioni, yes.
Who was on the governor's staff.
Yes.
Yes. I'm not familiar with the monthly newsletter that she puts out. I know we get daily e-newsletters from CDHE on really what's going on with other colleges and universities across the state that have been in the news, so pretty much taking any news clippings from their communities and kind of passing it around. But we can look into seeing what kind of e-newsletter might be happening from CCHE, if that's of interest.
That's just a thought, something that we could all look at and we could all maybe discuss real quick, or I don't know if that would help. But I'm in the same realm as everyone. I'd like to learn more about the higher educational trends and what's happening. So.
Thank you. Any other comments? I'm going to take us down in that section just a little bit for continued support for our college CEO president, Dr. Bornstein, and then welcome and support our acting president during president's sabbatical. I just, again, want to throw a big thank you out to Dr. Rothamer and the cabinet over this past semester and the work that everyone did and continues to do with Dr. Bornstein's absence. You guys did a phenomenal job continuing to keep us steady and stable and moving forward. And so, again, a big thank you. And I think the support has felt very positive. Okay. We have enhanced the board's role in the community engagement, and I would welcome any comments there as well. I do think we have been better about leveraging our position as elected officials. I do think that has been a question that I have gotten at some of our community events as we identify as an elected official of there are many people, even though they knew they voted, and they said, well, I voted for you, but they didn't put two and two together that it's an elected official. And so I do believe that creating some of that awareness and I think excitement for the role that we get to serve in as well. And so I would say that's been a big piece. And as you can see by the monthly reviews, we have great participation in our community events by this board. John.
I think one of the things that's important, whether it's in the community or even at Ames, is that whoever is sponsoring the event, they need to know what trustees are there, and they need to recognize who they are and that they are elected officials. I think sometimes it's like, well, welcome Ames trustees, but I think that putting a name and a face creates better leverage, and it allows people to know that we're there and that we have a role to play as an Ames representative.
Great comment. Any other comments or thoughts? Okay, I'll just keep rolling. Set a standard for aims to be a model of the future. And Heidi alluded to it in regards to our book review with Imaginable and our work session. I thought that was a great session. I had never really thought about moving into the future that far, but as fast as the world's turning, I think it was a great exercise for us to look forward. And then the conversation day, I believe everybody is planning to attend. So, okay, and progress reports. When we look at our convocation day from 2024 and moving through that, I think reporting as well as monitoring has gone well, and would welcome any comments to that effect as well. So from my perspective as a chair, I think we're doing well on our board focus, have evolved, and continue to row forward. Anybody else? Okay, appreciate the comments. We will move on to number.
It looks like Trustee Wendell had her hand up. Sorry.
Oh, sorry, Heidi, I didn't see it.
It was nothing. I'm just saying I'm really excited for the conversation day coming up, and I love the book, and it's quite exciting to think about the future that far in advance. So can't wait to see what happens in a couple of weeks. So
Great, thank you. I'll pause for anybody else just in case I missed you. I can't see everybody's faces on my screen, so. Okay. We will move on to our CEO President's Report, Dr. Leah Bornstein.
Thank you. And before we jump into the items that are listed below that we're going to present to you, I did want to take a moment of privilege, if you don't mind, and certainly thank you as the board for allowing me the opportunity to take a sabbatical last semester. This is our first official board meeting that I'm back afterwards, and I wanted to make sure I made a public announcement to thank each and every one of you for this incredible opportunity. It was needed more than I realized, and I appreciate that. I also, as you mentioned, Chair Schock, would like to publicly recognize Dr. Russ Rothamer for stepping in as acting president, who did an outstanding job, certainly leading the institution on my behalf, and all cabinet members who continued moving the leadership forward and the momentum of the institution. And then certainly finally, every single member employee of the college who did what they normally do, which is focus on students and focus on the direction that we're going, and all the support that they gave each other and our community. So thank you all very much. It was a special opportunity that I greatly appreciate. Then moving forward, before we jump into our for sort of a monitoring report, we want to hear from Dean Terry Anderson, who is going to give us a bit of an update on the AAG, the Ames Administrative Group, which he does twice a year. So Terry, please take it away.
All right. Well, good afternoon, Chair Schock, trustees, Dr. Bornstein, and all colleagues. It's good to be able to present to you today about the Ames Administrators Group. This is a group, if you remember, this is our second year. We started this in the fall of 24, so we're about a year and a half in. And we've done a lot of things, and we're really excited about it. And so just a quick reminder, this is a group that's comprised of all the administrators that have that classification at the college. And we were charged with really continuing to lead and drive positive culture at the college. And so last year, we kind of took the first year really to just explore who we were as administrators and what that truly meant to be an administrator at the college. And from there, we began to really build some relationships across the division, now knowing who all the administrators at the college, and then also beginning some work to try to establish some leadership norms and behaviors that we all can operate on, just to provide some greater consistency throughout the leadership of the college. And so moving into this year, we really, at the beginning of the year, took some time to really examine and think about, okay, what are some of the things and some of the mechanisms that will help drive that positive culture at the college. And what we landed on as a focus for this year was looking at what does the college do and how do we feel we're doing in the realm of employee recognition, employee appreciation, and employee gratitude, knowing that these are some major mechanisms when it comes to the quality that someone feels and the value that someone feels as an employee at an organization. And so it began by really analyzing what do we have as even mechanisms to do these things? What do we have as mechanisms for recognition and appreciation of our employees? And from there, figuring out and looking at, okay, these are our formal mechanisms that we have. Some individual leaders may have some informal mechanisms, but really taking some time to have some discussions and list out what do we have as mechanisms as leaders if I want to recognize or if I want to show my appreciation or gratitude for my employees. So after doing that analysis, we talked about each of the formal mechanisms to really try to determine what is their effectiveness, what is the value that those mechanisms are really bringing to the institution, and are they being effective as ways to show our appreciation as leaders to our employees at the college. And so we kind of graphed those different mechanisms to figure out are there something that's maybe just emerging as a mechanism? Are they booming mechanisms? Or maybe they're kind of on the downside of the roller coaster and maybe decelerating in their effectiveness. And from there, we looked at, so we know what we have. We know how effective they are. Where do we want to go from here? How do we want to continue to push and drive this culture of appreciation and recognition as the leaders of the institution? And so we took some time and put together some recommendations on some of those formal mechanisms, how we can continue to advance those to really be able to best recognize and appreciate and show our gratitude for the employees at the college. And then on top of that, we established a norm for the members in the AAG group. If we are the ones that are driving the cultures and the leaders of the culture, then we need to be demonstrating this in our day-to-day operations. And so a norm that we have established as a mechanism for this recognition is each week, every Ames administrator is blocking off at least 15 minutes on their calendars to do some type of recognition, appreciation, or gratitude for someone at the college. And this can be someone on their own team, or it can be somebody from a different team. And it can be using some of our formal mechanisms. We have a GEMS program. We have a Ripples and Recognition program. Or it can be some informal mechanisms that we talked about, which can be some handwritten thank you notes and those type of things. And so we really want to try to set the tone as the leaders of we know, and I think you all know that the employees at Ames are doing some amazing work. They're very dedicated, very diligent in providing the best opportunities for our students to be successful. And we want to recognize and appreciate and show our gratitude. And so we need to make sure that we are prioritizing that as the leaders and the administrators at the college. And so we're committing to blocking off some time every single week to make sure we're doing that. So that was a look at the first half of the semester. As we get into this spring semester, our focus kind of transition from recognition and gratitude to now we're doing some work on understanding what it means to be an executive leader. There's a difference between kind of just being a manager and being a leader, and then being an executive leader. And so there's a couple different avenues that we're looking at. We currently have each member of the AEG is going through a workshop this week to learn about executive presence and what it means to have executive presence and executive influence, and how we can best utilize that in our day-to-day work here on the college and also in our roles in the community. And so that's going to be our focus throughout the remainder of this year. And so we're really just looking to continue to grow together as a leadership group, and gain some consistency in really trying to push that positive culture and that positive value of making sure all of our employees are feeling welcomed, feeling appreciated, feeling valued for the amazing work that they're doing on a daily basis. So that's what AAG has going on. So any questions?
Oh, Trustee Hafley.
I greatly appreciate continued work on the culture of the institution, and I think that's something that Dr. Bornstein and everybody at Ames should be very proud of. Vice President Anderson, do you all have a budget that allows you to go out and secure the things that you need to be able to do the studies that you're doing?
We do. We do have a budget. Our group falls under the affiliate office of the president, and so we do have budget allocated each year to be able to do exactly what you said. If we need to bring in speakers, if we need to do some professional development, if we need to get out into the community, we have that ability to really continue to have the resources we need to strive for this positive culture at the institution.
Thank you.
Trustee Wendell.
Terry, I would just like to say this is amazing. You've done some really good work over the last couple of years. And the fact that you've acknowledged that you're developing leadership and now you're developing excellent leadership just says that you're going above and beyond. And I really appreciate your work on that. So thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Dean Anderson. Appreciate it. Stay warm.
We'll try.
Okay, next under the president's report. This past summer, June, when you had your retreat, you had requested learning more in depth about our academic programs, and you have been doing that this past fall. And so next on our agenda is Dr. David Oehler, Vice President of Academic Affairs, who's going to focus comments on the Arts and Sciences Division within Academic Affairs. So Dr. Oehler, please take it away. Dr. Oehler, I believe you're on mute, so we haven't heard anything.
Let me try that again.
Okay.
I was trying to get my screen sharing going and I neglected to unmute. So thank you for introducing Arts and Sciences. So Chair Schock, trustees, cabinet members, and guests, we're happy to focus on Arts and Sciences for this month. In addition to this slide, there's also a sheet in the board packet, and the numbers are slightly different from the PowerPoint in the sheet because the sheet is a little bit more recent data. But on the sheet in your packet, you can see all of the departments and programs that are part of the Arts and Sciences Division. There's some enrollment information and staffing information, little tidbits on the highest enrolled courses and the most popular degrees with designation, which is sort of like having majors. And then a couple of programs are highlighted in the subsequent pages to that. But we have coursework across 6 of the statewide guaranteed transfer categories. And these are things that automatically are guaranteed to transfer to other public institutions in Colorado. 20 degrees with designations, 8 departments, 68 full-time faculty and 11 full-time staff, roughly, 125 adjuncts and 1 part-time. We have on the sheet in your packet a little more up-to-date information. The spring FTE was up to 1,061, and you can see the fall head count is 15% higher than last year. Spring head count is even higher than 4711. That's almost 30% increase from last year. We also do programmings in arts and sciences to work with the college community with adult education and English language learning. And we've done partnerships with academic programs, with the commercial driver's license and with the education program, where we're assisting students who are primarily Spanish speaking with help in learning English language and Spanish support so that they can have better success in programs. And that's something that we're gradually expanding to other programs as we gain experience in how to do this effectively. Then we also, the last bullet here, we serve all of the academic programs, particularly the career and technical education programs, with customized general education courses and helping with student support initiatives to try to make the content more relevant to what the students are studying so that they're more engaged in the classroom and have better participation and therefore improved success. So those are some of the highlights of things that are going on in the Arts and Sciences division. I'm happy to take any questions if you have any.
Trustee Hafley.
Thank you for all that wonderful information, and kudos to everybody in that college, and you guys should be very proud of yourself. What percentage of our learners are ELL, and how many languages are spoken at Ames?
I don't have that on top of my head right now, but I can look that up and get that information back to the board.
Thank you.
It is an increasing number of students that we're serving. I do know that, but I don't have the exact number.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Sorry, Trustee Wendell.
Thank you for the presentation. It was very informative, and I really appreciate that we're reviewing all this. It helps me, and I really appreciate that we're doing all these classes, and then yet we've taken time to go out, well, beyond what we're doing. And I'm just looking at the art as an example. The fact that, the music, is that we offer, all these music appreciation classes and other things. But in addition, we offer private voice lessons, private piano lessons, it says guitar, violin. That's just amazing to me that in addition of offering the group stuff, we're also able to offer individual help. It just, I think, creates community and trustworthiness, I guess, of our students in Ames. And it means that we care. So I really appreciate that we've gone beyond the call of duty on making everyone have a place at Ames. So thank you very much.
Thank you. And I want to take that opportunity to also recognize the adjuncts that we have. We have excellent faculty available to come in and do those private lessons and work individually with students. And it's a great program and great people doing great work.
And I invite any and all of you to come to the president's office. I think, Jerry, is it Tuesday afternoons when we hear the xylophone class? So that's also very interesting. And the doors are open and the music is going throughout the halls. Okay, thank you, Dr. Oehler. The next part of the President's Report agenda, actually, I think was postponed from December to now, and it's our mid-year monitoring progress of our strategic plan that our cabinet members are going to jump in and kind of just give you some status on where they are. In your board packet, you'll find 2 pages that basically say board strategic plan highlights that have our objectives and a couple of the tactics underneath. And you'll see cabinet member names with a line item in color coded. So we're basically just going to kind of go from the top to bottom. Yep. And Zach is number 1 there. So he's going to lead us off with giving you a progress review on line 1 that he is overseeing. So Zach, if you want to take it away, that would be great.
Yeah, you bet. Thank you, Chair Schock, Dr. B, members of the board. Quick side note, my son is actually in a xylophone band, has a performance tomorrow, and I can safely say you can take a hard pass on coming over Tuesdays and Thursdays and seeing xylophone performances. It's a lot of noise. This line is improve and increase prospective student marketing and communications. Has 4 components to it. 1 is to conduct an audit of brand marketing. 2, complete a brand study to measure current levels of awareness and perception. 3, define key data points and establish a baseline of measurement. And then 4, create a brand marketing dashboard to measure progress. We're in really good shape on this one. We completed at the beginning of this fiscal year the brand marketing audit. I reported to the board on that approximately August. We're currently working with our external partner ID5 to conduct a pretty comprehensive study that is really including the development of actual metrics to help us determine levels of awareness, of perception, and metrics like that can typically be pretty hard to measure. So we're looking at how do we do that? What are we measuring to kind of give ourselves some key performance indicators in those areas, and this would be across multiple demographics, from current students to community members, parents of prospective students, a lot of demographics like that. These studies are actually set to roll out here in the coming weeks, and then we have a replication cycle where we'll be regularly analyzing year-over-year data to kind of monitor those KPIs that we've developed. As I said, the studies I mentioned have KPI development and dashboards that we'll utilize to monitor over time. I've seen actually just earlier this week, we're in pretty final drafts of those dashboards where a lot of it's automated. A lot of these metrics will be kind of automatically put into there so that we can regularly assess over time and monthly, yearly, whatever data sets we want to pull, whatever demographics, and we'll be able to kind of start looking at these measures that really speak to our brand health and awareness. So we're really on track to have this one done by the May mark. I'm update, and I'll be able to kind of show some of the work. So appreciate the time.
I think maybe in the interest of time, we'll just keep moving through, and I'll just watch. And if you have a board member, if you have a question or a comment, if you'll just maybe raise your hand and I'll watch if that works. Looks like it might. The next 1, 2, 3, 4 report outs is by Dr. Larry Pekowski. So Larry, would you like to take it away?
Sure thing. Thank you, Dr. B, Chair Schock, and trustees and guests. Want to provide some updates on some of the other aspects of Strategy 1. And first, we'll focus on Objective B, which is focused on student recruiting. The first big thing there that you see is number 1 is enrollment dashboards. So as you're aware, the college is currently embarking on a new project called IR as a Service. It's kind of our institutional research 2.0. So those are nearing completion on the enrollment side, and that will enable us in this semester to start looking at some retrospective data that it's great to see where we're at, but it's also good to inform us of where we've been so that we can plan to where we're going. And so those dashboards will give us the ability to do that and to pull in all kinds of different elements that we have available from different data sources, as well as to start making some projections and informed decisions on where enrollment might be headed. The second piece of that is a CRM implementation. Element 451 is the CRM that the college selected last year. We are in the kind of final stages right now of getting enrollment management and kind of our admissions process for the college up and running. And we are already working with other offices throughout the college to continue adoption of that CRM. Ultimately, that will enable us to have streamlined communications with students throughout their journey at Ames, from applicant to graduate, and will include different communication campaigns and things like that. There are a few things that folks would probably never even notice that have already happened or are happening now. So like requests for information pages, chat bots, things of that nature. They're all rolling over to the new CRM as we speak. Moving on to objective C, that is to improve and increase student enrollment. The first one there, the Ames Guarantee Program. Starting this past fall of 2024, we implemented an Ames Tuition Promise program. It's for dependent students with an adjusted gross income of $65,000 or less, or an independent student of $50,000 or less. It's a last dollar in tuition program. So after things like Pell Grant and the Colorado State Grant, any remaining balance that is there for standard tuition, the college covers the difference of. Not to stop there, Trustee Wendell in particular is very familiar with this because she was at the foundation board meeting where we announced it. But we will, in this fall of 2025, start a Strong Start Scholarship. It's a partnership between the college and our foundation, who's significantly contributing. Does not have an income factor on it. Any new student will be eligible for up to $1,000 in their first year, split between the fall and spring semesters. Depends on how many credits they're in. The floor is a student that's 6 credits in each of those terms. They would get $500 award split between the 2 terms, up to $1,000. So regardless of income, any new student will have that opportunity. So coupled together, the Tuition Promise and Strong Start Scholarship, if you get both, what that means is that essentially tuition fees, books, were pretty close to covering the entire spectrum there and eliminating that financial barrier for students to get a higher education at Ames. Next is learning stop-out and drop-out challenges. I referenced that IR is a service project already. We are currently in the process of working with our partner in that project on student success dashboards as well. That will help us to start to inform, why do students leave without finishing? What are the different factors? And are there things that we could potentially contribute to mitigating those factors or to re-enrolling those students? Sometimes life gets in the way, and a part of the solution may be to bring back students who stopped out at some point and help them to kind of restart their journey. Last part I have in here is D, which is retention and completion. So a couple things to highlight there. First is We Educate. We had a work session back in November. So I don't want to belabor what that is, but just to update you that we have finished year 1 assessment there. The assessment reports are being submitted. We're in the process of beginning to review those, and that'll help to inform our work as we move into year 2 of We Educate. Second are the AA and SACE Foundations for Student Success piece. Our 2 assistant vice presidents in academic affairs and SACE, respectively, Drs. DeCosmo and Prestwich, are leading several of our kind of co-divisional work groups through the AA SACE Bridge Committee, focusing on 3 things: the first year experience, on-time registration, and a student-centered course schedule. So they are hard at work with those work groups. And I think our first one is first year experience, and we actually have recommendations coming to Dr. Oehler and myself in a couple weeks. And then the last thing I will cover is an appreciative advising model. So we are headed toward our second meeting there, meeting with the leadership in the Advising and Transition Center offices, and developing a written advising model of what we do as a college and kind of key deliverables and KPIs and things of that nature. Also exploring in the next year the opportunity for appreciative advising course and certification for our advisors at the college. And I think I am supposed to throw things over for the rest of this one to Dr. Oehler.
Okay, thank you, Larry. Number 4, continuing pathway work to implement Pathways 2.0. The initial work in Pathways was looking at all of the certificates and degrees and specifying what is the coursework that's required for each of these, and laying out more clearly for students what choices to make and what to be taking. We are going to be continuing that work and develop a tighter relationship between those specified course paths and scheduling, so that we make sure that we're saying first semester take this, second semester take this, and that we're scheduling everything in such a way that there aren't conflicts, that the general education support courses, if there are some for a particular degree, that they're scheduled in such a way that students actually can take all of the courses and stay on track and graduate on time. We'll be expanding that as well to a part-time student path, so that students who aren't going full-time will have additional specification and guidance on how we'd like them to move through the programs and facilitating that as well. Additional transition program opportunities. We've been working on a high school to Ames program, Ames to Work. Of course, we have Ames to UNC. We're in the future, we'll be looking at the feasibility for Ames to CSU and Ames to Metro. The high school to Ames framework has been fleshed out, and there's been a team working on that and now working to implement and share that with the high schools, share it with high school students, parents of high school students. So that's been a joint effort that we've made some really good progress on. The goal with that program is to increase awareness of Ames availability and programs to high school students, and to try to facilitate ease in getting registered and transferred when students graduate from high school. If they haven't finished our partnership programs, being able to easily matriculate into Ames and continue their coursework. And we're also working with the Transition Center to help support that. And for the next one, I'm going to pass that to Chuck.
Chuck, before you start, Dr. Burkowski, is there anything you want to add to the transition program opportunities?
Sure. Just to echo what Dr. Oehler said, with high school to Ames in particular, that's a joint effort between 3 different departments at the college, high school programs, the transition center, and enrollment management. We've tried to, both for us, for the counselors, and for the students, kind of clearly define the lanes in which each of those operates and the ways that we support their students, whether they're concurrent or transitioning into Ames as a degree-seeking student. We have department heads from each of those areas that are meeting regularly. And as Dr. Oehler noted, starting to share that with our high schools, with our students, and hopefully clearing up some of the ambiguity of who might be doing what on our side, to better support students and make their journey through concurrent enrollment, or the transition from concurrent to Ames, or just outright to Ames at high school graduation, a little bit more seamless for them, similar to what we do with Ames to UNC with our partnership across town.
Okay, thank you. Don't go too far, because I'm sure you're going to want to say something about the Student Health and Wellness Center after Chuck. All right, Chuck, go ahead.
Thank you, Dr. Bornstein. Yes, real quick on the student health. We had, of course, a robust conversation with the board at your retreat. So I'll make these pretty quick comments. But as of right now, planning is in the final stages. Mike Millsaps and his team continues to make great progress on planning. And as of this point, we're looking to turn dirt on the Student Health and Wellness Center in late June. So exciting things ahead. Back to you, Larry.
To echo what Chuck said, we're really excited about the vision here with this building and the opportunity to bring not only our existing mental health services, but health and dental services to campus for our students and their families. We feel that it eliminates one more barrier for our students, and at the end of the day will be one of the ways that Ames continues to innovate, kind of in an outside the box way, but in a way that's very important to our students.
Thank you. Before we jump to strategy 2, that was probably a lot to take in. Any thoughts, questions, points of clarification before we jump to strategy 2?
But I would like to make a comment. Don't necessarily have a question, but it is so impressive. We know we provide a good quality education and a broad spectrum education for a community college. But it makes me so proud to be affiliated with Ames and to know about the multiple options and ways that we offer support student success. Whether it's for especially in elimination of financial hurdles, but the food insecurity programs, health and dental. If a student is interested, they should make it through. And that just makes me feel good to know that we're offering that to this community, this region. And I think what this region and community gets back for their tax dollars is very impressive. Congratulations on the great job.
Thank you, Trustee O'Hara. Appreciate that. Okay, we're going to move on to strategy 2. And again, if you follow along in your sheets, Dr. Oehler, looks like you have the next bunch along with Chuck chiming in here and there. So Dr. Oehler, please take it away.
Okay. Strategy 2 is about providing innovative, transformative, and flexible course and campus experiences for learners and workplace experiences for employees. And the first objective has to do with transforming and creating new curriculum to meet contemporary learner and business partner needs. A couple of things we're doing about exploring innovative credentialing options. There's a teaching methodology, credentialing methodology called competency-based education, which focuses on what are the things that students are learning and mastering in courses, and how do you assess those? And so credit accumulation and course completion is based on demonstrating competencies, not on sitting in a class for 16 weeks and just getting a passing grade. So that requires revising the philosophy and the framework of instruction. We're crosswalking learning outcomes with industry-defined competencies where there are career and technical education courses. We're designing processes on the back end so that registration and financial aid can be awarded to students, and we have systems in place to capture performance as students demonstrate competencies. And then competency-based programs require separate accreditation through the Higher Learning Commission. So we're currently exploring what does that process look like and how do we prepare for that. So we're making really good progress on all of those fronts, but there's a lot of work yet to do to make sure we have the infrastructure in place and that we get accredited as we move forward on that. Another one of the innovative credentialing options is digital badges. And digital badges are other ways of documenting students have mastered some skill, knowledge, or ability. And the terminology across higher ed is used variously in terms of what is a badge. We also sometimes talk about micro-credentials. And at some institutions, you earn micro-credentials and they result in a badge. Other institutions, you earn badges that result in a micro-credential. So we're in the process of defining how we're going to use those terms here at Ames. drafting, again, a vision and philosophy for what we want to do with badges, looking at processes and procedures. How do we capture these? How do we monitor these? Where do you post these? Typically, these use blockchain technology so that they're available outside of the Ames information ecosystem, and you can link to them and see definitions of what they mean and all of that. The other thing that we noticed when we were at conferences is many institutions just start doing badges without thinking about it a whole lot, and suddenly they have 500 or 600 badges, and they're everything all over the place. So we're also, excuse me, designing a governance system. How do you propose a badge? Who looks at it and approves it and makes sure that it's got all the components that we need, that it's clear, that it's comparable to other badges, and so on. And then we're also beginning to identify some pilot areas where we'll begin trying out badges. So this is a pretty exciting thing to get into, and we're trying to be very deliberate in planning and preparing so that when we roll it out, it's successful and we've anticipated a lot of the potential problems. I'm going to go ahead and turn it to Chuck for numbers two and three here.
Thank you. Yes. Quick update on the Ames Workforce Innovation Center. Again, Mike Millsap and his team have been continuing their great planning work, and we're planning to break ground on that in April. And on our Aircraft Maintenance Training Center, finalizing the permitting on that and start work on the renovations at the training center here in March. So lots of activity to be had here in the next 4 months across all of our campuses in our building projects.
Okay, and I'll jump back in with B, transforming and creating new instructional delivery modes on student success and completion. And one of the sub-items under that objective is developing a mature program of online education. We do have a lot of online offerings, and over the last several years, we've done a lot of work in what does good online instruction look like, and what characteristics should online instruction have? What are some of the standards that courses should adhere to? But that has been work that has been mostly committee level work and not organized in such a way that it's widely disseminated and enforced. So we're creating structures to organize that information. We're pulling together all of the work that's been done over the last few years. We're creating a structure to create basically a department chair for online learning that can coordinate and make sure that we have a coherent plan and it's well structured and everybody knows about it. Developing training for faculty to make sure that all of the best practices are being disseminated and trained on. We'll be looking at how do we audit courses to make sure they're doing the things that we need them to do. And it'll involve online courses, hybrid courses, remote teaching, and involve faculty, the Faculty Teaching and Learning Center, the instructional designers, IT staff, and faculty and student engagement and success. So, the different modalities include, when we talk about digital learning, an online class is one where students sign up and you complete the coursework on your own. You have a timeline, but no specific meeting dates. So it's 100% asynchronous is how we refer to that. There are hybrid modalities where part of it is the student working on their own, part of it is in person or at a particular time where everybody gets on a Zoom meeting together. And then it has we have a remote modality, which is synchronous. So it's basically holding class over Zoom where you have specific days and times but the interaction is electronic rather than in person. So all of those formats, all of those modalities will be covered with what we're doing with online programming, what we're calling online programming, as well as the college's learning management system, which is Desire to Learn, or D2L, and all courses have a course shell that is housed in D2L. And so we'll be applying a lot of these best practices to that as well. So a lot of work to do, but a lot of the initial work has been done. It's a matter of pulling it together and rolling it out in an organized and coherent way, and really looking forward to seeing that blossom and progress.
Thank you, Dr. Oehler. Before we go to D, I wanted to just let you know the actual groundbreaking for the AWIC building is going to be scheduled, and Jerry will put it in his events list. It's going to be March 13th from 2 to 3, the Greeley campus at the site, the building site. And more details will come either from Jerry, certainly, for the board, and then for the rest of you who might be listening, they'll sure come from Marcom. So just wanted to let you know. And it looks like Dee is hiking through the forest over there. So
it looked like an appropriate background for today.
For sure. So take it away, Dee.
Thank you. Under strategy 2, objective C, we have enhanced strategies for employee talent acquisition, new hire process efficiencies, and ongoing professional growth and development. So highlighting a couple of our tactics, we develop a hiring solution program to increase our applicant pools. You may remember that the last few years I've highlighted our recruiting efforts for our positions have declined due to the pandemic. Pre-pandemic, we had an average of 25 to 30 applicants for each of our positions. In the last couple of years, we declined to 7, 8 applicants per position, in some cases 0 applicants, and having to extend recruiting time from 2 weeks to up to 2 or 3 months to attract qualified applicants for our positions. So some of the strategies we implemented included growing our Ames presence on LinkedIn, leading to an increase in followers and increased traffic to our Ames Workday job page. We've increased, our recruiters have increased our networking efforts, trying to get our name out more to attract applicants. And so we have found that we have been able to, I had last reported to Cabinet a couple months ago, we had increased up to 18 applicants per average, but we're now up to 25 average of applicants per position. So our goal will now to be to maintain that and hope that we can keep that going. On number 2, our goal was to develop and implement an intentional leadership program. And I also brought that to the board back in November and introduced the new GROW program, which is a leadership program, a year-long leadership program, and it's still going strong. We're just finishing up Module 2, going into Module 3, and we have a cohort of 31, and so that is continuing to grow strong. And that concludes my information.
Thank you, Dee. Okay, another lot of information on strategy 2. Any questions, comments, clarification? It's a lot to listen to. Yes, Trustee Hafley.
I greatly appreciate the efforts of everybody following the strategic plan. I have a question for Mrs. Schultz. Is when we recruit staff members, do we try to match the demographics of the institution to make so that our students see people that look like them teaching?
We don't have an initiative in that realm, especially since the recruiting for applicants has been challenging over the last 4 or 5 years. And so our goal really is to focus on individuals that are qualified. We've had some positions where we would get, 10, 15 applicants, but not meet the qualifications. One of the objectives that we do have to help with recruiting diverse applicants is that, we ensure that our min quals allow for a wide range of applicants to apply for positions. But we don't have a, as you would say, maybe a quota system involved.
Okay. Thank you.
Dee, don't we also have certain avenues that we advertise in that might attract or have a higher population of certain?
We have, yes, thank you. We do have a wide range of advertisements, and we're fortunate to have a budget to be able to advertise in various areas, including for Spanish speaking positions and recruiting veterans. And so we do target some of those recruiting sites to attract a wide, diverse population.
Hey, that's what one of my hopes was, that we were trying to do something like that.
Yes, we do that.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions or points of clear? Oh, yes, Trustee Wendell.
Thank you, everyone. There's a lot in this, so I appreciate everyone going through. I'm always excited to hear about the marketing and Zach's information he's putting out. You do a great job. I'm really excited to see what happens. The dashboards are always so informative and they make it easy to understand. So I really appreciate that. I'm really excited, Dr. Oehler, about the high school to Ames. I think to kind of make a formal program is really exciting. So I'm all excited about that, as well as I'm really interested in the badges. I remember you bringing that up earlier in the year. A little over my head or just too much information. But now that I'm understanding it more, it's pretty interesting. So I can't wait to see what really rolls out with that program. And then Dee, once again, I'm really excited about your Grow Leadership program. I was very impressed with that. I think you brought that out in November. So I'm really excited you're doing that. And I know HR used to do that. Mine was a lot smaller. It's a very difficult position to try to recruit. And I think you're doing a good job. So hats off.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Okay, the last part of the president's report is recognition of new employees. Because we're on Zoom, we will wait until our March meeting when we're in person. So those of you who might be on Zoom now, who's a supervisor, please bring your new employee to be introduced at our March meeting. And that concludes our president's report. Chair Schock.
Thank you, Dr. B. I would echo Heidi's comments. There's a lot of information, a lot of great things happening. So thank you for bringing us back to the strategic plan. At this point, it's more on reflections. If there's any feedback in regards to future topics, other items that the board would like to see coming forward for future meetings. Also a time if you have any accolades or any other comments to make, it's a great time for that. I'll pause for a minute and see if anybody has comment or question. Heidi.
Just real quick, would like to wish or thank everyone for doing an excellent job as always. But I'd like to thank Kelly Jackson for always finding that student that brings us back to why we are here. And she does a great job of finding students from all walks of life, and it's just really appreciative. So I thank you.
Thanks for those comments. Anybody else? Okay. We're basically at the end of the meeting. Would welcome feedback. Felt like I was getting back on a bike in the snow today, and with the virtual meeting, but we've made it through it. So any feedback, any comments that any of the board would like to make about the meeting or areas we can improve? John?
I'd like to thank Mr. Harvey for being so adaptable in such short amount of time. I mean, getting all the links, getting all the agendas back out, setting this up. It's not an easy task. And as always, he's on top of it and makes the rest of us look pretty dang good.
Thanks, John. Janine?
Yeah, I just would like to thank everyone. As usual, these meetings are so informative. And I know it takes a lot of work to get us ready for today. So, for everyone and for all you do, just a thank you.
Anybody else? Yeah, I would just like to thank you as well. And Jerry, I know you jumped through some hoops to make this happen today. And I think, it went off without a hitch other than me forgetting a few things. So I appreciate that. I think it's been a good meeting. One last pause if anybody else has anything. If not, final thank you with the board as we go through our priorities and focus and all the work that you do in preparation and feedback and really staying in tune with our role as the Board of Trustees. So thank you so much. And with that, I would ask for a motion to adjourn the meeting.
I so move.
Thanks, Heidi. Is there a second?
Second.
Can I just do an all on this one, Jerry?
Second. Yeah.
All those in favor say aye.
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 Perfect. Hope everybody has a great day. Stay warm out there.
Happy Valentine's Day.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.